I'm 83 years old, and most mornings I wake up with the same thought sitting on my chest. Not fear, not pain, just the steady understanding that I should have slowed down a long time ago, and I didn't. I'm not saying this to complain. At 83, complaining feels like wasted breath. I'm saying it because when your days start to outnumber your tomorrows, certain truths stop whispering and start standing in front of you. This is one of them. I sit by the window now more than I used to, not because the view is special. It's the same street I've looked at for years, but sitting still has become something I'm finally capable of. Funny how that works. I spent decades moving, rushing, planning, pushing forward. And now, when there's nowhere left to hurry to, I've learned how to sit. Time feels different at this age. It doesn't stretch. It settles. It presses down gently, like a hand on your shoulder, reminding you that what's ahead is shorter than what's behind. I don't feel dramatic about it, just aware. I tell this story for whoever might be listening, not for sympathy, not for forgiveness, mostly because I don't want it to disappear when I do. When I was younger, slowing down felt dangerous, like giving up ground. I grew up believing that momentum was everything. If you kept moving, you were alive. If you stopped, you fell behind. In my 20s, life felt like it was finally starting. I had energy then, real energy, the kind that lets you work all day and still feel restless at night. I took pride in that restlessness. I thought it meant I was driven, capable, serious about my future. I worked whatever job would keep me moving forward. Long hours didn't scare me. They made me feel important, needed. I told myself I'd rest later, once things were stable, once I'd earned it. In my 30s, things got louder, more responsibilities, more voices pulling at me, a partner, children, bills that didn't care how tired I was. I didn't resent any of it. I felt chosen by it. This was adulthood after all. This was what it looked like. My days followed a rhythm I didn't question. Wake up early, rush through breakfast, promise I'd be home on time, break that promise quietly, come home tired, tell myself tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow almost never was. I remember thinking that slowing down was something older people did because they had no choice. I wasn't there yet. I was still useful, still needed, still in motion. That mattered to me more than I realized. The small moments were the first to go, though I didn't notice it then. A conversation cut short, a walk postponed, a story half listened to because my mind was already somewhere else. I told myself I was present because I was physically there, but presence is more than that. I know that now. In my 40s, the pace didn't slow. It accelerated. Promotions, expectations, a reputation for reliability. People came to me because I always said yes. I wore that like a badge. I missed things without making a decision to miss them. That's the part that still surprises me. It wasn't a choice, it was a drift. I missed school events because meetings ran late. I missed dinners because deadlines didn't care what time it was. I missed conversations because I was too tired to really listen. Each time it felt reasonable, necessary, temporary. I told myself there would be time later, when the kids were older, when work settled down, when things finally evened out. Things never really even out. The cost didn't announce itself. It didn't arrive with alarms or warnings. It came quietly in the way habits do, in the way relationships thin out when they're not tended to. There were moments I could have stopped. I can see them clearly now, opportunities to sit longer, to ask better questions, to stay home. At the time, they felt small, almost insignificant, just one more late night, just one more task, just one more delay. That's how most of life slips through your fingers, not in big chunks, in grains. I remember a night when one of my children waited up for me. I came home late, again. They were sitting on the couch, half asleep. I told them I'd make it up to them on the weekend. I meant it, truly. But weekends filled up too. By the time I realized how much I'd missed, the distance had already settled in. Not anger, not blame, just a quiet unfamiliarity, like recognizing someone you love but realizing you don't quite know them anymore. In my 50s, my body started sending messages, nothing dramatic at first, just stiffness, fatigue that didn't fade as easily. I ignored it. I had practice ignoring things. I thought slowing down meant admitting weakness. I wasn't ready for that. I kept going, even when going felt heavier than before. People praised my dedication. That made it easier to justify. When the world rewards you for being busy, it's hard to question whether it's costing you something. Then came the moment that cracked everything open. It wasn't sudden, it wasn't loud. It was a hospital room, quiet except for machines doing their work. Someone I loved was lying still, and there was nothing left to rush toward, no task that mattered more than that moment. I sat there finally still and felt something settle in me, not panic, clarity. I realized how often I had chosen movement over presence, how often I had assumed there would be another chance, another conversation, another ordinary day. That was when I understood that slowing down wasn't about doing less, it was about noticing more, and I had noticed too late. Loss has a way of rearranging time. Suddenly, the past feels close and unreachable all at once. The future shrinks, the present becomes sharp. After that, I tried to change, not dramatically, just enough to feel like I was paying attention. But by then, some things were already set. Relationships don't reset just because you're ready. People adapt to the version of you they're given. And I had given them someone who was always on the way to something else. In my 60s and 70s, life grew quieter. Work fell away, titles stopped mattering, the phone rang less often. That surprised me more than it should have. I had imagined that once I slowed down, people would fill the space. Instead, I found myself alone with the time I had postponed for decades. That's when the understanding really settled in. Slowing down earlier wouldn't have meant losing everything I worked for. It would have meant actually being there for it. There are things that can't be fixed now. Words I didn't say when they would have landed differently. Moments I wasn't present enough to remember clearly. I can't go back and sit on the floor longer. I can't listen to voices that have gone quiet. I can't trade productivity for presence retroactively. Time doesn't bargain. I don't carry this as bitterness. Mostly it's a weight, a gentle one but constant, the kind you learn to hold without flinching. If you're listening to this and you're younger, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I don't believe in that kind of advice anymore. Everyone thinks their reasons are good ones. I certainly did. I just wish I had understood that slowing down isn't something you earn at the end. It's something you practice while things are still unfolding. I wish I had known that being needed isn't the same as being known, that staying busy can sometimes be a way of staying distant, that presence doesn't announce itself as important until it's gone. You don't feel the loss right away. That's what makes it dangerous. It feels like nothing at all. Now my days are simple. I wake up, I make coffee, I sit, I remember. Sometimes I talk to people who were once too small to wait for me. Sometimes I sit with the quiet and let it be what it is. I don't regret my entire life. There was love in it, meaning, effort, but I do regret how often I confused motion with purpose. If this meant something to you, maybe it's because part of you already knows what I learned late. If you're willing, you can sit with that for a moment. No rush. As for me, I don't have much time left to slow down, but I'm doing it anyway, not to fix the past, just to be honest with the present. That feels like enough now, and subscribe.